So, it's August. There's lightning outside in San Jose. And are you going to pay $5 for FanFest? Yeah, I don't know. All I know is we have an hour 39 minutes before Jon Stewart's final daily show, so welcome to this semi-abbreviated edition of Pucknology After Dark. We're essentially shooting the shit.
I got to tell you though, that's for people that aren't on DirecTV. I already watched Jon Stewart's last day.
No effing spoiler alerts.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
And there's of us who don't have TV period and we have to wait until the next day.
No, seriously?
No, I got rid of it. At least until shark season. I have no use for TV right now.
And we'll talk about TV and advanced media in a little bit. As of course you can tell, we have the usual constituents. AJ Strong and returning from his 6-month sabbatical or something. I don't know. It's been a while.
6-month
Chris JWX.
Temporary mutual departure. 6-month temporary mutual departure. There we go. We'll go with
that. Well, kind of to catch up on everything. So, Chris, you found a place in San Jose, which has been a subject of many editions of the show.
And apparently is not too far from where I live, seeing how we heard that lightning at about the same time.
Yeah, I found a place just north of downtown. It's a nice little cardboard box here, not too shabby, you know. I got high-speed internet, that's all that matters, and it's not AOL.
Ooh, ooh. You think it's the off-season, they drop the bad jokes, but no, folks, that never happens.
We double down, always.
That's right. We go all in. We give it 110%, 100% of the time. All right, guys, really there isn't much to talk about Sharks-wise. You know, pretty much
a few things.
A few things. I mean, we'll touch up on it. Paul Martin, we kind of went over. We went over Martin Jones of sorts, but I don't think we touched on Joel Ward since it happened a few days after. What do you guys think, and what do you think the lines are going to look like when they skate in LA the first Wednesday of October?
I would imagine it'd be Thornton, Pavelski, and Ward on the top line. You know, some sort of combination of probably Marleau, Couture, and I don't know. See, I would put Wingles down on that second line, and then you know, however you're going to make out the bottom parts of the lines. I think we'll see. You know, it's one of those things that you really can't say shit for another month until you start seeing, because who knows? You could have Jeremy Waugh breakout, and you know, nobody knew. So it all depends on what happens. But no, I would pencil in Ward's going to probably start off with Thornton and Pavelski, and then we go from there. What say you, Chris?
I like the Ward signing, first of all. It's like one of those rare ideas we have in an offseason. Hey, let's sign a hockey player. As far as lines go, honestly, I think it's even bigger crapshoot than you say, because this is a whole new coach. So for all we know, Gordon and Pavelski might not even be on the same line. I mean, that's probably the easiest one for him to do if he does retain anything. But for all we know, he could just completely mix the lines up. So,
right.
It's hard to say.
Right. I mean, DeBoer could have a totally different thing. You know, what was the biggest complaint we were talking about? What, as late as mid-season last season, was maybe put Pavelski down the third line to balance out the lines. I mean, anything's possible, but I like that Thornton, Pavelski, Ward line. Ward adds that grit, but he also has a good scoring touch, which is something that they need. The problem now is that you're going to have all these youngsters that Wilson's been drafting these last couple of years. You signed Timo Meier to an entry-level contract already. Who knows if Jeremy will... Or we go... Okay, let me get it. Is it Waugh or Roy?
I'm going Waugh, baby. This is a Canadian sport we're playing here.
Waugh.
You say Waugh? All right, then we're going to go.
If he pronounces it Roy, then he's wrong. He should not be playing hockey.
So no wonder Derek Roy hasn't been signed with any team yet, right? You know, you just don't know where the whole roster is going to be. I mean, you have Goldobin probably ready to go. Maybe Jeff Pilaps has an awesome camp. You look at the kids that are playing right now in that junior tournament, like Roque Chartier. I'm trying to think of the other ones that are on there right now. There's a whole line, I believe, of sharks on Team Canada that's very promising.
More thunder.
Yeah, I
Thunder?
heard it. I heard it myself. Oh, and just a couple flashes outside. But it'll be fun to see how long this lasts before, like, we get a power surge.
Yeah, you know what we'll do is we will put on we will go live Mega Doppler 7000 HD as how LA puts it. It's so funny, you know. Up here, Channel 7 calls it live Doppler 7 HD. Up down in the Southland, it's live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. Now more accurate than ever before. It's
See,
it's the same
This is
freaking
for
thing.
only NHL ties to do that, not you. NHL ties used to do that.
We really are bored, aren't we?
Very,
Very, very bored.
very, very
Way.
bored.
Way bored.
Well, let's get into one thing I caught on Facebook, at least this last week, and the Sharks, not the official site. I believe it was the Sharks store Facebook, but anyway, they. I don't know if anybody caught this, but they put out a laundry list. Well, I shouldn't say a list, a photo album, if you will, of hundreds of different items, earrings, pucks, sticks, shirts, all sorts of stuff for to mark the 25th anniversary. You know that they are going to pimp the hell out of this and try to sell as much swag and merch as humanly possible, and some of it is good looking. I'm a really big fan of the Diamond 25 logo with the shark tail coming out of the back. I thought that was a really cool logo. Not a big fan of the XXV. I get the whole Roman numeral thing and everything. Just doesn't look that great. You know, the Roman numeral for the 10th season they came up with that incorporated that fin was one of the best designed logos I've ever seen. The XXV is kind of lacking. I would have thought they could have come up with something that was like maybe an X, and then the lines from the inner X come down into the V shape, and maybe that leads into the actual Sharks logo because of the V. I think that would have been like a really cool idea for a logo. But either way, yeah, the Shark. There you go. So
That's the main one. That's the one that'll be on the jerseys. Of course, the great news of it all is that patch, like we saw at the draft, replaces the front numbers. And according to the NHL Style Guide, I'm going to drop some breaking news on here. They updated that entire uniform so it has no front numbers, nor does it have a patch. So I'm guessing now, folks, those front numbers are going to be pretty much gone.
because I don't know very many people that thought that they were worth a shit. You know, most people don't. I think the Sharks were like one of like maybe 4 teams that had numbers on the front.
There were, at the time, there was Dallas, the
Buffalo.
Islanders, Buffalo's the only one left now. Islanders. Trying to think of who else had it. But yeah, they
What
were
if
one
I
of
want
the
the player's name or the player's number from the front? What can I do now?
yeah. Well, it was basically because
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. We have issues.
Eric went off for a second. He decided he is no longer part of the program. He has some internal stuff to deal with.
Yep. And now it's pouring rain outside.
Oh, really? I have to go look now.
Pucknology After Dark for all your weather updates right here.
In San Jose. With regards to, the 25th logo, that logo is great. I do hope that it leads to a banishment of the numbers on the front, which I always thought were silly. You know, when they did the outdoor game, they put numbers on the sleeves and on the back that were bigger, so it would be easier to see. you've got these on the front, these little numbers. It doesn't make we're not like, we didn't get closer to watch the game, so it doesn't really matter. I just think they're stupid. It makes the jersey busy. If anything, you save that for a patch like the Warren Strelo patch when he had passed away. You use that spot to recognize somebody, but you definitely don't use it for numbers. But with regards to the swag that the store released, yeah, there's some really cool stuff. There's a couple of things that you just kind of go, okay, they're gonna be like Kiss and just slap their logo on everything. But they do have some cool stuff, which would lead us into the Sharks Fan Fest that's coming up. I don't know about you guys, but they just got an email about the Sharks Fan Fest that's coming up, where it's going to be apparently $5 if you're one of the the peons among us, but $30 for the VIP, which apparently gives you access to maybe some more players, maybe a little bit longer of an autograph period. I'm kind of hit and miss on this, just because other fan fests have been free. Last year's fan fest was free. Granted, there really wasn't a whole lot of autograph, that you could get. Honestly, I really enjoy the fan fest from back in the day. Chris, I don't know if you ever went to one of these, but I remember like one of the last fan fests that I went to that was back in, I think, right around 2000, but they had players stationed essentially throughout the tank, and they would rotate. They'd be parked there for an hour or so, and you could get in line for that, and then they would cut off the line and say, okay, after this person, this shark is moving somewhere else, he's going to do. So they would try to keep it going. And what was really cool about it is that on the ice, well, not the ice, but the concrete floor of the building, they had different things set up where it's take a picture with the shark head. They had a San Jose State goalie and a corner of the ice open where you could go up and like get 3 shots against the San Jose State goalie. You could play. I played bubble hockey where Brian Marchment was my partner, and I was playing with somebody else who was in line and his partner. So it was me and Marchment versus this other guy and Owen Nolan. So that was, those are some really cool things. You had Randy and Drew walking around, shaking the hands and pressing the flesh and saying hi to everybody. I mean, did you ever get a chance to go to something like that, Chris?
No, that was before I started. Before I was able to spend my own money on such things. My parents were not big Sharks fans, so.
No, I hear you. But it's just the Sharks. It's so weird how they went from this fan fest, and then they kind of went to that whole teal and white game thing, and then now they're kind of and I can't remember what the hell they did last season. That was kind of another hybrid, and then like we've seen, like the Sharks really have changed things up in the last couple of years, because you look, even their equipment sale and their equipment sale that used to be at Stanley's at Sharks Ice San Jose, and then their super sale of swag that used to be, at the tank at the store, they've combined into this whole thing that's on the ice. And I thought it was, Eric and I we thought it was really cool because they did have the Sharks head down, so you could take pictures with the head. You could do a lot of stuff. It was a lot of fun to do it that way. I'm hoping they do the Fan Fest. I hope they do it right. I've got some hope. As much as anybody has watched any of these Pucknologies, I think most people know that over the last 12 months, I've been really just pissed off at this team, pissed off at the decisions, kind of pissed off at everything. And in the last few weeks, it's kind of like, I like the signings. I do think that, signing Ward and signing Martin is kind of, that's a year ago we all heard about the youth movement, and Martin and Ward aren't exactly young, but I understand what they're trying to do. So at least they seem to have tried to right the ship. Either way, I'm not blaming everything on Tortora anymore, is what I'm saying. That's what my point is.
We get a kinder, happier AJ this season. Can we promise that much? No, too much.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, at least I'm enjoying, it's like, I think the direction that they're going in is worthwhile. I don't feel the need to shit all over every part of it. Now,
Hey, don't worry, the 49ers took over in that department.
I was going to say, you have that, and I also withhold, the right to be able to change my mind at any moment. So before Halloween, you may get the AJ of old. We'll see what happens. But I'm just saying, for right now, I think the ship is pointed in the right fucking direction. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know about the right direction, but definitely, last offseason we were just sailing straight backwards. We were just like, okay, what's the wrong direction? Let's go there. That's so, or maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but it definitely felt like we were.
They've gotten us out of
deliberately
reverse.
Trying to go the wrong way. So it feels like we're at least taking steps forward instead of taking, well, it says sprinting backwards. So a little bit of hope. Still not that high on the coaching hire. I like the signings there this offseason. So yeah, we'll see. And no more Tarasov. I mean, not that big of a loss, I would think. But
well, let me ask you this: do you think now you have to take into account that the Sharks have about? I mean, I haven't looked at general manager in a while, but the last time I did, the Sharks essentially had right about $1 million to do anything with, and clearly there's not a whole lot you can do with $1 million except maybe talk Scott Hannon, to go fetch the team water or something.
Did he sign somewhere? I thought he signed.
No, of course not. I would guess that Hannon has ridden off into the sunset.
With all the screw-up teams out there, none of them thought to make us look a little less dumb by signing him. No?
You bring up a good point because as far as I know, and I think it's kind of surprising, Cody Franzen still unsigned. To me, that's a bit of a shock. And most people, anybody who knows me knows, I am not an Ehrhoff fan. I never was an Ehrhoff fan. But the fact remains, though, he could be a productive number 4 guy and help you on your power play. I'm a little shocked that I don't know if it's a case of like teams aren't offering him what he thinks he's worth, or if teams are just not making any offers whatsoever, because you're looking at a guy who got a fairly decent payday going from San Jose to Vancouver. Now, granted, it was kind of a salary dump for San Jose, so they could make their move to get who was that part of the
Heatley.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that's part of the Heatley deal. Then he signs for the Motherlode in Buffalo and goes completely dormant. So, maybe teams said, no, you've already got your overpayment, and so this is, who knows what the deal is at their off. But
here's the kicker, though. John Scott is signed.
That's a great. Fucking figure that out, man.
You have to sign 2 of these 3. You have to. You have no choice. John Scott, Christian Ehrhoff, Scott Hannon. Guess which 2 I'm signing. It ain't.
A borderline. I mean, what you can objectively refer to him as a 5th liner versus a guy who could be a number 4, easily a number 5 defenseman, and is going to give you decent time on the power play. And you're going to go with John Scott? Really? Okay. See, that just goes to show.
Wait, no. I'm not saying I would go with John Scott. I'm saying that's the one I'd be leaving out.
No, and that's what I mean. It's
I thought you meant.
No, how is a borderline 5th line a press box seat warmer?
He's like second line press box. Like he doesn't even get sitting in the row. Like he should be sitting in the second row in the press box.
Yeah, so I don't get that at all. Now Gen X is saying, dude, for under $1 million, you can sign 2 John Scotts. And you know what? That would be true, but no one would want them.
How many Adam Burishes could that buy me?
Yeah, right. Oh man, work that out.
I'll trade you 2.5 Adam Burishes for about 2 shares of John Scott, I guess. I think that'd be the exchange ratio right there, something like that.
Now, getting a little bit further into the Shark store, well, not so much the store, but the swag. They're pushing off the 25th anniversary swag, which I'm sure will be hit over the head with all season, and rightly so. They should be making a big deal out of it. we've covered it before. The things that they should be doing, having alumni for the ceremonial puck drops, bringing back things. Obviously, there will be some sort of third jersey. Having them, replacing the black jerseys on Thursday night with the retro thing, coming out to 2 Unlimited, bringing back the Air Shark, bringing back Zamboni races, just a lot of the things that granted the customer base, the fan base, that's going to change over a little bit every year. You're going to constantly try to bring in new people, and there's going to be people that have like, I put in 20 years with these guys, and maybe I'm done. Who knows? But either way, there is still a strong. I've been there since day one, and it's going to be the people like me that are really it's going to mean the most too, that have been there the longest, that want to see those things from back in the day. And there was somebody on Twitter today, and I'm just going to throw this shot up, that tried to do a hybrid of the current logo and the old logo. And this is what it looks like. Now, if you're looking at this logo, I kind of judge it on a couple things. First off, it's like, is it better than what the Sharks have currently? It's all subjective. It's debatable. But when you look at this logo, it's essentially 70% original logo, 30% current. I mean, you've got, it's the straight triangle. It doesn't have the V that the current one does. For the most part, the body of the shark is the original shark. They've just, added in the teal highlights from the current one. They've added in the orange eye, and obviously they've added the orange stick, or I'm sorry, not the orange stick, but the current stick. And I will say, you know what? I like this. I think it's a cool logo. I think it's a nice mishmash of, today versus yesterday. I'm not offended by this logo whatsoever. What do you think, Chris? I mean, I was kind of offended when they went to the new logo, because I didn't think there was a damn thing wrong with the original. But what do you think about this logo?
I think it's all right. I mean, honestly, when it comes to logos, I like all of them. This is one of the things I think that I've always been different with you on the show. Like, you like and dislike certain jerseys, like, and all that. Like, I tend to be kind of like, I like the black jerseys. Okay, sorry to say it, but same thing here. I mean, I like this. I like the old logo. I like the new logo. I would just like to see them go full retro and do the old logo all season. Really, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I was pretty young when the old logo was still in effect.
See, and you know what? I think that is a great idea. For them to go retro logo all season long, I think would be awesome.
Or retro Thursdays, like just every Thursday, it's full on retro.
Yeah, and that's exactly. Yeah, and it's like, and you really use that like hashtag, that whole Throwback Thursday. Use that to your advantage.
There you go. Yeah, it's Throwback Thursday. Yeah, is that what the hashtag is? Something like that.
TBT, man. Throwback Thursday. It's like, use that to your advantage. Dump the fucking black jerseys. I mean, the black jerseys, I get why they put them on sale. I own a couple of them. I don't think they're, ugly jerseys at all. They're good-looking jerseys. I just don't want to see the team playing in them, especially during the playoffs. Like, maybe once a month or something, or maybe like the first game of the season and the last game of the season or something. I would much rather have them take advantage of the whole Thursday night thing and do that Throwback Thursday thing that you mentioned and just go full-blown retro, at least for this season. I guarantee you, man, the place would go apeshit, especially if they come out to 2 Unlimited, get ready for this like they used to. The place would go fucking batshit.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. I'll probably go to more games this season than last. That's still pretty pissed at them last year.
Yeah, see, and I feel...
If they do that, I'll definitely go to at least a couple Thursday games.
See, I feel the exact same way. Like, we had said it before, like, going into last season, it was the first time, and I don't even know how long, that I just, was not very excited about going into the season. I'm kind of excited for this season. I'm going to expect a little, I'm going to expect more from the team. Granted, if you look at some of the reviews, whether it's TSN or NHL or whatever, there, a couple of them are saying the Sharks, they've, huge difference. And I'm like, how big of a fucking difference is you replaced one thing on the defense. You know, you got rid of Hannon and replaced him with Martin. Now, granted, that's a pretty good upgrade, and it also pushes Dillon down into the 5-6 spot. But still, for the most part, you've got the same nucleus. So I don't know how crazy you can get about that. What do you think?
So, one thing real quick, because I have been going back and watching the shows after you guys have been doing them. What is your hatred for Dillon? I don't think he was overwhelmingly great, but I thought he was fairly solid for the most part.
I think he's decent, but I don't think he's better than a 5. I just don't.
I would say a 3-4 kind of guy. He's not spectacular. He doesn't do stupid. He doesn't do stupid things all at Demers. He doesn't have a lot of flash, but he won't get you beat, which is kind of what right about now. That's what we need from our 3 and 4s because we don't have a lot.
I just haven't felt so far that he was better than a 5, barely a 4 if somebody gets injured. But if I remember correctly, isn't he only like 24? So he's got...
Yeah, he's young.
So he's got a lot of room to grow, and maybe in the next couple of years, especially if you have the opportunity to work with a Larry Robinson in the off-season or something, if maybe Robinson puts together a couple camps when they have maybe a few idle days, put something together, whether it's sending notes, any type of interface with Robinson or whatnot. I feel like he can be coached up, but I'm just saying, after what I saw from last season, I don't know. I didn't feel a whole lot from him where, it's actually kind of what you say that he's not as offensively gifted as Demers was, but he's not as defensively liable as Demers was. He was, he's just kind of that guy who hangs in the middle. I said,
he's like Vlasic in some ways. He's gonna kind of put you to sleep, but he won't get you beat. He'll make a lot of good smart plays, but he won't make the spectacular ones. At least he did in this season. We'll see how it is going forward. But pretty much that's how I felt about him. Like he's kind of like the Vlasic of the second pairing. Not as good as Vlasic, but same kind of little boring. A little better puck mover than Vlasic, but not as good defensively as Vlasic. Like he's far and away the best defender on the team.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. Has there been anything else that is kind of? I've seen some articles, whether it's been, Ian with God, I get them all confused, and that's going to make me look like an asshole. Obviously, you have Andrew Bench on the Hockey Writers. Ian is that's the Teal Tinted podcast, but I thought he also does a blog.
I forget the name of the blog. Like I said, I've been so out of the loop for the last month because moving and work has been insane. Yeah. But all those guys. Yeah.
Well, it just I've tried to just kind of touch base on certain things. There's a lot of prognostication on who's good, especially Andrew. That guy, man, I get the feeling like if he has a day job, like he just goes to his day job. And as soon as he's done, boom, he's back home and he's just banging away because that guy puts out an article like every 2 days, man. It's amazing. Guy has amazing proliferation.
Gotta appreciate it. In August, that's not easy.
No, it isn't. It isn't. And you know me, I'm not a huge fan of the whole the idea of like predictions. Because to me it's just kind of like if you get it right, you look like you have no way to win because if you point it out, you look like a know-it-all who's patting yourself on the back, and if you get it wrong, you look like you know nothing. So we'll see how it rolls. He's had a couple good articles, kind of going over what he expects. And what do we have here? This is the Cellarman Saison. Me like it.
Yeah, it's from down in Santa Cruz there. Lovely Santa Adarius, very nice beer. And Gen X is calling me out for questioning his beer cred on Twitter.
Well, let's see. Speaking of Gen X, he's saying, damn it, you needed to watch more Dallas games. Dillon has the ability to be a punishing D-man with good mobility. Okay, and I'll take your word for that. I just want to see a little bit more of it, especially in the punishing department. I didn't feel like he was, doing much in that regard. But the team was in flux last season.
The whole
The
team
D
was
line,
kind of
yeah, the D line was really suspect. I think if you put him in a position where he can be a little, you put him in a 5-6 role, not as much pressure, let the game come to him, to use the cliche that every other fucking sports radio guy does. But, don't feel the need to make a play every 5 seconds and to chase after stuff. I think he could be pretty serviceable, but you're looking at Vlasic and Braun, Martin and Burns as your top 4. I'm interested to see how quickly we see an article from Andrew regarding that Burns should be back at forward. Like, I'm thinking it's going to take about 10 games.
It won't even take 10 games. And again, I think he's right, but I'm kind of like, I agree every time, but it's like the ship has kind of sailed. It's like the whole Pavelski at third line center. The ship has sailed on that one. And, well, I have less problems with the Pavelski thing now that we actually have Tierney emerging as a viable third-line center. So now that we have three pivots down the middle, at least we did last season.
Yeah.
I'm a little less concerned about that because, how much time we spent dumping garbage on the third and fourth line and just throwing it out there.
But wait a second, guys. I thought we were convinced that Hurdle was supposed to be our third-line center near the trade deadline, right? I mean, that's what we were told by management and the coaching staff that's no longer here, right? That Hurdle was going to be our third-line center.
Who even
that was a deal. Yeah, that was a thing from last year. Who knows what the hell it's going to do? But Hurdle has proven. No, I get you. Hurdle has proven he can be viable on the wing, at least in his first season. Obviously, Dustin Brown tried to fuck that up pretty good and seemed to have. I'm hoping that Hurdle comes back a lot stronger. I think we would all agree that Hurdle's season last year, he played tentative. He was being shifted. He got a little first. There wasn't a line that he did not play on last season, and he was a little tentative. I'm hoping that he comes in really, just hungry and strong, and we all. I'm fearful. If I'm sure Eric's going to remember this. When Brad Stewart took that hit from Jody Shelley, he was never the same player. He just wasn't. If you look at his game before that hit, he was a little more haphazard. He was willing to take chances. He was more offensively minded. And as soon as Jody Shelley hit him, he was a little more tentative. He was more of a defensive guy. He wasn't looking to make the big play type of thing. And I'm hoping that same thing did not affect Hurdle when Brown hit him. That's what I mean. I hope big things for Hurdle and Tierney this season. Really big.
Well, it's a knee injury. It's a tough kind of injury. Again, speaking from personal experience.
Right. Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I went through a knee injury when I was a little before my 14th birthday, tore ligaments and such. And getting into hockey around that time is to build up my knee. But you're thinking about it all the time, so it's a very scary situation. It's always in your head so much. But yeah, you're right, dead on, AJ. When Stewie took that hit, he wasn't the same player. He became a different type of player, which helped him win a cup down the road. But he wasn't the.
I think
same
the main
one
thing that helped him win a cup was being on Detroit.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
That's true.
Gen X on Twitter is saying that he bets that Martin gets dropped to the 5-6 pair by 10 or 15 games, and it's going to be Dylan and Burns on the 3-4, which could happen. We'll see. But then again, this is coming from Gen X, who thinks that you can play Number of the Beast with one finger. So I'm just putting that out there.
Also, if you look statistically last season, the guy that Burns was best with, he was the least awful at times. I mean, well, okay, he did a lot of good things last season, but the guy he had the most success with was Dylan. That was, if I recall correctly. I might be misquoting that, but I'm pretty sure that was Dylan, and that's what the stats said. It's been a while since I looked at it, but
no, and I'll give you that.
I would be okay with that.
I'll give you that, but then it would come into question. Then, well, if Martin falls down to 5'6", why the hell did you sign him for that deal? Especially if you're going to be pairing him with essentially a rook. You know what I mean?
It might be that maybe we're not trying to just dump a bunch of trash. Like it's like we dump all the trash in our like fourth line or third pairing. So maybe not have a terrible fourth line, third pairing for once. That wouldn't be I wouldn't mind that. And if Dylan can be the Vlasic to or the equivalent of Vlasic to Burns as Vlasic is to Braun, and if Braun could bounce back, that would be our defense might not actually be that bad if these guys can all bounce back, which is
well, I think
it's asking for
part of that. Is if they can avoid the injury bug and if they can get comfortable in these pairings. I mean, we saw last season there's a lot of bouncing around. Braun gets injured for a spell, Irwin's injured for a spell, Vlasic even had a few games. And so there was a lot of, rotating. We need to try to get I'm sorry, are we taking off? Do you guys hear that too? Is it, what the hell is it?
Mail.
Is that what that is? So anyway, but you had guys that were constantly being shuffled around on that blue line, and you can understand the fact is because the blue line couldn't shut shit down last season. So of course, McClellan's sitting there trying to, find the combination to lock shit down, and they never found it. So I think, if Braun can step into this new contract that just kicked in and be that player and show that good rapport that he had with Vlasic, and then if we've heard it time and time again about how good Burns and Martin match on paper, then we could have, and it would be really interesting to see just that a blue line really, that was probably rated like, 22nd, 23rd last season, come back into at least the top 10, top 12, and all they did was change out one player.
I think they could at least be in the top half of the league, which would be a drastic improvement. I think also last season they had, the hangover from the year before, I think, reigning over them. But then they also had all the management bullshit of we're not going to name a captain, we're just there was so many things looming over the head of the team last season, so it is really hard to judge a lot of the guys because, they always say, oh, that doesn't affect me. The only thing that should affect me is on the ice. Bullshit. If you know anything about psychology, you know damn well that shit affects how they play on the ice. So, I mean, again, not to make excuses, but I think maybe this coming year, another year removed from it was 3-0, and maybe we actually could name a captain, Maybe they can get away from the distractions and get back to the hockey, because there were so many distractions last season.
So many.
So many. A quick thing, since weather is a topic right now, we are at the local on the 8th. The radar is saying that you guys are going to...
Dude, really? Just shut the shit down, man.
I'm sorry, I had to do that. No, but you guys are going to get some nasty weather pretty soon, so be careful over there.
It's okay. I'm going to Minnesota in a couple days, so.
Dude, I was gonna say nasty weather. Dude, I'm going to bed in like an hour. I don't even care.
When the lights go out, though. Oh my God.
I gotta get up early tomorrow. I gotta do some shit, and then I gotta take a nap before I DJ tomorrow night. Believe me, I'm gonna be fucking out soon enough. But I appreciate your concern.
Absolutely.
Eric cares.
That's right. Hey,
Eric
the
cares.
more you know.
Eric cares.
So, yes, pray to those hockey gods, please, for the love of God. Sorry, I had to step away for a moment. What guys have you guys covered?
Well, we spent the most of your absence on basically covering, kind of talking about FanFest, how I talked about my time when I first started going to it, where you could play games with the players on the concrete underneath the ice, and they were in various places throughout the tank. It morphed into the teal and white game, and so on and so forth. And last year was free. And then also discussed all the new 25th anniversary swag that the Shark store has been pumping out. That was the gist.
It's really nice.
Some of the off-season moves as well.
Oh yeah, I hate to call for an early prediction, boys, but why don't we go with the bold prediction on August 6th? 10 months from now, where would our San Jose Sharks be?
Are you talking about in the division?
I'm talking about overall. On June 6th, so 10 months from today, where do you see our San Jose Sharks at?
On a golf course.
Can we make some more predictions that we could actually figure out? Maybe will Rafi Torres play this year? I think we need to talk about him.
Yeah, I would absolutely say so. You have to wonder. You got a lot of guys playing for roster spots. Like I said, Meyer, Chartier, Jeff Pilots, Jeremy Waugh.
I'd be more interested.
Cole Bolden.
Honestly, I'd be more interested in discussing the division and where we would think that everybody is going to, kind of finish off. I don't know how the top two are going to do, but I have this really odd, I don't know, call me Kreskin. I feel like Vancouver and Arizona are just going to be almost, fighting who's going to tank worse.
You would think that, and I'm assuming you've been listening to TSN 1040 almost as religiously as I have.
Not in the last few weeks. Really, hit and miss there, but really not since Free Agent Frenzy, that week. And then I've kind of been done with it. I haven't listened to them in the last 2-3 weeks.
They've been covering on BC Lions football, and if you're a bad Canadian, if you root for the Seattle Mariners over the Canada's team, the Toronto Blue Jays, they've really been giving their GM, Jim Benning, a hell of a time with what he's done, especially with the free agency, who he's traded for. Obviously, they traded away Nick Bonino, who was the key piece in the Ryan Kessler deal that sent him to Anaheim.
So they get rid of another big piece, like Edler or something?
Edler's gone. Of course, we know about Bieksa, of course.
Oh, Bieksa. That was the other one.
Yeah, Bieksa is gone. He went to what we're now going to, how the Sharks were buddies and almost pretty much merged with the Minnesota Wild to be called the San Jose Wild Sharks. I think you can call them now the Vanaheim Canucks.
Yeah, but if you look at everybody in the Pac Div, Vancouver is literally the one team that you can say did nothing to get better, and if anything, they got worse.
I think
the Oilers will still be managed to be worse than them, though.
No, you know what? I would place a bet on that right now. Edmonton did a shitload to get better, but you don't.
Okay,
this is
Edmonton, who every year this is the year that they're finally going to. I think it's been every year since 2011 that this.
It's been every
put together.
It has been every year since Rafi Torres hit Milan Mahalik. Okay, in the playoffs, we all remember that. It's been every year since.
It was the kids in 08, 09, and 10. That they were calling them. They were literally just calling them the kids.
I know, and they kept doing. Nugent Hopkins, and we all know that they've just gone through number one pick after number one pick after number one pick. Connor McDavid, okay, fine, but they've done a little. They've done a lot to address the defense. They've they've dealt with their goaltender situation. Hopefully, let's be honest, they're in the same boat that the Sharks are with respects to the goaltender. They're taking a young, unproven guy who looked good during a very quote unquote small sample size, and so we'll see, who benefits from that. But there's just, to me, Edmonton's always had a decent couple of lines. They've been able to put the puck in the net. They just can't keep it out. And I feel like they've addressed their defense this year a lot better. I think McClellan's going to help, and Talbot's going to help. So I would look at. It would not surprise me in the least that, I'm just saying, out of all the teams in the Pacific Division, the three Western Canadian teams, it would not in the least surprise me to see them finish Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. And I would put money on that. I would say Edmonton ends up with a better record than Vancouver next season. I will put money on it.
I was in part joking there. I wasn't being completely serious, just because it's amazing how awful Edmonton has managed to be year over year in spite of having so much talent on paper. It's
Absolutely.
Amazing. I think, though, actually, to be totally serious with McClellan, I would not be at all shocked if they actually were in the playoff chase for a while and fell out, early in next year. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because that's a big part of what they need. They need a decent coach who's going to do something with all that talent, because McClellan's a pretty damn good coach. So I wouldn't be surprised. Depends on the goaltender, like you said. That's the big X factor.
He's a pretty damn good coach, and injuries happen. So, the right player goes down, or I should say the wrong player for the right team goes down, and, a team can tank for a few games, and it can be bad enough at the wrong time. So, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like it's going to be Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, despite whether it's, out of the, the 7 in the div, if it's Calgary 2, Edmonton 5, and Vancouver 6, so be it. I'm just saying that's where I think they're going to finish in comparison to themselves. Eric?
And where do the Sharks land in all this? That's the big question.
That's the big question, because you look at it, Anaheim's obviously going to be the division winner. Calgary's going to still
I don't know about that.
Who else?
I mean, Anaheim is nails during the regular season. It's like it doesn't matter. They just manage to one whole game their way to the division title every year.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe Anaheim, I don't know. They could be, you say they're nails, but didn't the Sharks pretty much own their ass last season? I mean, like the Sharks were the only team they couldn't beat.
Yeah, that's literally the only team that we could beat all year with any consistency. I mean, we lost to the Oilers, we lost to the Flames every time.
You know what?
I think got more of us than not.
I hate to, you know what? I'm thinking of the div in my head, and I'm just going, you know what? I think at this point, just on paper, just intuition, I think the Sharks nail the third spot by like a couple points. Like, I think as much as, because we talked about it before. Well, I'm like, I'm sure you guys remember, like back in December, January, I kept saying that I think the Sharks are going to miss the playoffs, and it isn't going to be by much. It's going to be like 3, 4, 5 points. And we talked about all those games that the Sharks gave up when they could have had the point in hand. Even the outdoor game, they could have gotten at least a point out of that. There was so many times last season where they just coughed up an extra point that they should have had, and that would have been the fucking difference if you go back and look at the standings that they could have snuck in. Now, granted, they probably would have not lasted very long, but at least they would have snuck in. This year, I think they're going to suck out the 3 seed. I think they're going to pull it up. I don't think they'll be a wild card. I think they will be a 3 seed.
I think they might contend for the wild card. I think at the very least the Kings and the Ducks will end up ahead of them. And as much as I hate to admit it, I wouldn't be surprised if Calgary ends up back in the 3 seed, just because they've had the Sharks number for the last year. And I don't see that changing. Well, it's just like anything. It's like anything. It's like with the Ducks. Until I see otherwise, I slate them for the division title. Same
You
thing with the
don't,
Oilers. Until I see otherwise, I slate them to be
But
awful.
here's
you
the
don't
thing.
think the Kings, you don't think all the shit that has happened with the Kings over the last year and a half is going to have any effect, whether it's locking Sutter out of their dressing room, whether it's like having players being busted for whether it's domestic violence or cocaine possession. You don't think any of that is going to be, I mean, hell, we fucking, the Sharks win a goddamn season without a captain, and look at the distraction that was. You don't think that that's going to be a little bit, not to mention all the extra hockey they've played in the last 4 years.
Well, let's
Could
also
be, like I said, though, I give preference to the incumbents because they've been really good for several years in a row. So I'm gonna give them that benefit of the doubt until I see them actually start slipping. But
Oh,
Tweets
fuck you,
coming in
Gen
right
X,
now.
man. Fuck you, bro.
Just how
Seriously.
high is
Fuck
AJ
you.
Strong right now? A 3 seed, did California legalize pot and infused beer? No.
Seriously.
Because
AJ's
obviously,
drinking some
Seriously?
AJ, you make more sense when you drink, dude. What the hell?
Seriously, Gen
I'm
X?
looking.
Fuck you, man.
Oh, I'd like to apologize to Generation X-Wing
the
for
two people that are watching right now.
the 2 people that are watching us right now. I sincerely apologize.
And I think I know who one of them is, and they don't care.
Whatever. But to kind of get back to the points, to answer what you guys were thinking. What?
Hold on. Who does Gen X think is going to finish 3 seed if he's so smart? But go ahead.
Well, throw that out there, and I'm sure he'll respond
Yeah,
with something
exactly.
smart.
Let me talk for at least a moment before you guys
No.
go on another tangent. I know. Shoot. I think we were all in agreement that if we were to get the Ducks in round 1 last year, that we would have beat them. And if Calgary or Winnipeg were the second round opponent, we would have beat them into the Western Conference Final, where we've gotten our asses handed to us by
Calgary? No.
Chicago. I think so. Ramo doesn't do anything for me. Ramo and Hiller didn't do much for me. Their offense, yeah. And Nemo can close his legs, would be great. Stop acting like a nice little whore in Times Square. But we don't have to deal with that. He's in Dallas now. Well, I thought this was a decent team. I think it's gotten better. I agree with you guys. The distractions in LA, the whole Voinov situation was a big one just because there was so much cap space that they had to deal with that they couldn't do much. Yeah, they ended up getting Sakara for a first-round pick, but that ultimately cost them a bona fide defenseman and a run to the playoffs. So yeah, that distracted them big time. Throw in whatever happened with Stoll, it's just one thing after another. But I agree with you guys. There were some games, and there was that February stretch, the outdoor game they should have shown up a lot for. Let's not forget that Capitals game where we were up and we had, Mueller get body checked by the referee to allow Washington to tie it up, and then they eventually went in overtime. It's
but
little
Eric,
things.
don't forget, we beat Chicago, Anaheim, and LA back to back to back at the end of January. Because that was apparently the only thing that was the most important for the Sharks, because we've heard about that time and time again. Those 3 games back to back to back. Never mind the absolute putrid February where they couldn't buy a win to save their lives. But oh my God, they beat Chicago, Anaheim, and then LA. 3 games in a row. It had never been done before.
What's funny is that didn't Chicago come back in February and we blew a game against them that costed us big time, or was it March?
Yep.
You know what the matter is? It was not until you mentioned those 3 stretches of games that it crossed my mind. You know what kind of did cross my mind is that we still didn't make the playoffs.
Yep.
So.
And the fact that they kept, I have yet to see. So, since the season ended, and now granted, there haven't been a whole lot, but since the season ended up till today, I have yet to see an interview with Doug Wilson that did not mention the 3 games against Chicago, Anaheim, and LA at the end of January, and I have yet to hear an interview with Pete DeBoer that did not mention the phrase clean slate. Haven't heard it yet. Haven't heard it. So hopefully, once we get into once the season starts, hopefully that Doug Wilson will forget about those 3 games. DeBoer will forget about the whole clean slate thing. But now we come back to this. As we are essentially, if you look at the calendar, we're about 6 weeks out from preseason games.
Mm-hmm.
Let me.
Well, I mean, you kind of look at with the FanFest kind of kicking off everything. I think it's that weekend that everybody reports to the camp. So, but you also have, if you think about it, the guys who have kids in school here are either back or going to be back within the next week or 2, and that's when you have captain's ice, or I'm sorry, because we don't have a captain, assistant captain's ice going on at the Sharks ice. So we're getting close, guys. I mean, we're getting close to 2 weeks where we have just a few people starting to come in, just shoot the puck around and everything. My big question is this, and I don't know if you guys have been around Sharks Ice a bit. Here's a big question. Will the Barracuda locker room and offices be ready for them by the time training camp begins?
Nobody cares. Who's the captain in October?
I agree with AJ.
Well, let's put it this way. How cramped are we going to stick in? I'm not going to talk. Go ahead. Chris, go ahead. Who's the captain?
Who's the captain?
I'm gonna say Pavelski because why not? I think Thornton should probably still be captain, but again, like every other ship that we've talked about in the past, that one has also sailed, so it's probably Pavelski.
So now I'm going to flip the script. I have this bizarre notion. The captain of the Sharks coming up is going to be Thornton, and the 2 guys wearing the A's will be Pavelski and Vlasic. That's this weird, but like I said, it's just an odd, bizarre premonition. That's how I feel. What do you think, Eric? Who do you think is wearing the letters?
The tough part is, as I'm starting to hear rain coming down out here.
And I don't want to hear any of this shit. We're talking 3 people. I don't want to hear these shit where it's like, well, Couture and Pavelski will wear it when they're on the road, but Vlasic and no.
I'm sure you'll have 4 alternates, which we've seen the Sharks do in the past, where you have. But I think, and call me crazy here, and I don't know if who would I want. I would want Pavelski as our captain.
I didn't say who you wanted.
Oh, that's a crazy pick right there.
But
that's really going out on a ledge.
Let's hang on. Who do I think? Oh, I think they're going to go with Marc-Edouard Vlasic as their captain.
Again, way to go out on a ledge. Way to go out on a ledge there, buddy.
Yeah, and with that, you can see that
hang on.
Hot-infused beer is working its way.
Calm down, AJ. Brody's not on yet. The problem is that Vlasic is younger. Pavelski's already in his 30s. Vlasic is younger. Even though he was, mute, the first few years of his career. But I think DeBoer will go with the younger defenseman because I don't think they're going to give an A to Couture. So I think the A's will be Thornton, Marleau at home, and on the road will be Pavelski and Burns.
Are you done being high? Okay, cool.
I'm not high. AJ's apparently drinking pot-infused beer over there. I'm just saying, but I'm also saying that we'll make the conference final this season.
Yeah, man, you're just drinking a lot of that Sharks Kool-Aid right there, buddy.
Well, here's my thinking: is that if we go wild card, it's easier to come out of the Central Division as it is than the Pacific. Think about it. If we hit up Minnesota or St. Louis, I think
you see who's playing in the Central.
There's also, the little thing called the defending Stanley Cup champs in the Central.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Nice to meet you.
You know what? It's good that you touched on that because Gen X clearly has a better fucking version of cocktails than I do right now, which is very upsetting to me. He has just said, look at the Midwest. Chicago, St. Louis, Minnesota, add in Dallas, who got better in trades, if you say so. But he says Anaheim wins the Pacific, the rest are crap. I don't know what the hell he's drinking. Chicago, of course I give you that. They're the defending champs. St. Louis, I feel like they played a little bit over their skates. Didn't they lose at least one key member? Didn't they lose TJ Oshie or somebody this season?
To Washington.
Yeah, so they lost a real big key component to them. I don't know that they replaced it. I don't think St. Louis is going to be as good as they were last season. Minnesota, I do feel like they are on the upswing. I think
Minnesota's legit.
Yeah, I think they. In fact, I feel better about Winnipeg than I do about Dallas. I don't know.
You're liking the Winnipeg? Okay, Eric.
No, there's something about it. There's just I don't give a shit. Who the hell who did they pull down from Chicago? Who was it? Who'd they get from Chicago? Dallas. Who'd they just get from Chicago?
Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp. Sharp is not the fucking answer. Dallas. Give me a fucking break with that, dude. Dallas is no. They're gonna no. So I don't know. Gen X needs to put the goddamn pipe down or the really good liquid down, whatever it is. I will give you Chicago.
They have legal weed.
Yeah, I will give you Chicago. I will give you Minnesota. Maybe St. Louis. I feel like you think that division is stronger than it actually is. I think the Pacific is going to just surprise you this season.
Who's the Central Division champion?
Chicago.
Chai.
Because remember, they finished third and almost were a wild card last year. My point is
they also had a lot of adversity last year too. Though.
He's saying that Tarasenko is better than Oshie, and that's who Tarasenko replaced Oshie. Oshie was overrated. I don't think he was. I think Oshie was.
Oshie's value
was pretty dang good.
But Oshie's value went down when they went to when they go to 3-on-3 because games were going to end sooner. So he's not as a legit threat as he was beforehand. My point is this:
shootout though.
See, I look at it as
Oshie's great in the shootout, but how many games are going to end in the shootout now?
I look at it as, and now granted, fault me because I'm a devout Sharks follower. I don't get the opportunity to watch everything that I know Gen X is available. He has the opportunity. That motherfucker has center ice like a motherfucker, and I wish I did.
We need to touch up on that before we start off.
Okay, man, I'm telling you, I wish I had Gen X's center ice package. The thing is, though, is that I look at Oshie and I go, is he now? And okay, yeah, I'm a little fucked in the head. I admit that. It's all good, but it's all about the eye test. But I think about I think about 06, 07, whatever it was. You had Jeremy Roenick, a guy who was on his last legs as a Shark, and you had Milan Mahalik, who was supposed to be the guy who was coming into his prime or whatever. Look at their goals. Now, I'm not talking because this is shit for the most part that you really don't see you can't see it on paper for the most part. But my point is, I don't want, to me, Oshie is a guy who was more like a Roenick. He's not going to score you 30 goals in a season. Maybe he's only going to give you 20, but you know what? Out of those 20, 12 of those are really going to fucking matter. And Roenick, for me, was like that his last time as a Shark, especially, of course, as we know, that play, the Game 6 against Calgary. The fucking guy, when you needed a goal, he stepped up. You looked at Mahalik around that same time frame. Mahalik, yeah, he has like 3 times the amount of goals that Roenick had, but look at those goals. He's tapping shit in with 3 minutes left, and his team's up 4-5-1, or he's getting an empty netter or whatever. Like, they're not key goals. I look at that like Brandon Crawford. A lot of people shit. Well, they used to up until this season, But prior to this, there was a lot of guys that kind of shit on Brandon Crawford. And I'm going, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, he's only hitting like, 266. And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't have the best batting, it's not the best percentage. But look at what his hits are worth. To me, it's, they've got that WAR stat. To me, it's like, no, you look at the worth of these hits. It's like, yeah, okay, he doesn't get as many hits as this guy, but you know what? When that guy's getting the hits, the team, the fucking game is already over. It's 7-2 in the ninth inning, and he's piling on. Whereas Crawford is getting like a game-tying single or a game-winning single, even though he only went 1 for 4. It meant more. That is my point. That's all I'm saying.
There's a little thing called luck, and yes, Roenick didn't score 30 goals except for the 7 times in his career he scored.
Well, you know what? But I'm talking as a Shark. You know what I mean. I'm just saying that I just feel like Oshie. I don't feel that Oshie is overrated. Is what I'm saying. I think for what he brought to the Blues,
score at rates though relative to his time, Roenick was scoring at rates that was pretty close to a 30-goal pace, but he couldn't play as many minutes.
Yeah, of course. Right. But I throw it out to you. Do you guys feel that for the St. Louis Blues, obviously different players can play different roles on different teams. Do either of you guys feel that Tarasenko is an upgrade over Oshie?
Talent-wise, I think maybe, yeah. I think he was able to do a lot more in regulation per se. I think a lot of things. A lot of people look at Oshie. He's great and all and everything, and he's clutch in the shootout, especially in international play. You got to put that aside. Tarasenko definitely can dangle, very very Alexander Koroliuk-like, but better. And so in that sense, yeah, I could see that happening. They need just a couple more pieces, and I think they'll be fine. That's where I say, if a team like St. Louis or Minnesota win the division and the Sharks are like one of the wild cards, I think they can go into St. Louis or Minnesota and take them down. And if for some reason Nashville or Dallas or whoever Chicago takes on knocks them out, and let's be honest here, Nashville almost knocked them out in round 1. They weren't as shaky, with the exception of the Cup final. I mean, they had a rough run into the playoffs. And let's also be honest here too. 3rd Cup win in the last 5 years. They talked about the Kings had played a lot of postseason games. You throw that in with Chicago, and who knows what the situation is with Patrick Kane, if he's going to be around. But of course, we all notice Chicago does pretty good, even with one big star missing.
So as far as Tarasenko versus TJ Oshie, honestly, I would have to spend a lot more time looking at that question to really make a definitive thing. But I think talent-wise, Tarasenko is way ahead of Oshie. It's not even close.
I just feel like Oshie brought a lot to
clutchness. I'm not big on clutchness because I largely call that luck. But as far as the Central Division goes, I don't think it'll be nearly as far ahead of the Pacific as it was last season. I think a lot of teams in the Pacific, especially the Sharks, underperformed last season. I think Chicago still wins it.
All right. Let's just take it to the tweets real quick because I love Gen X. He says, Tarasenko is way better than Oshie in all aspects of the game other than the shootouts. # direct TV center eye test. I'll give him that. Okay, fine. He says, though, for Dallas, dude, seriously, Ben, Seguin, Spezza, Sharp, Hemsky, 2 goalies and an improved D-core. Dallas regular season deadly. Now, I look back on that.
How did they improve on D? They lost daily.
Yeah, I don't know really how they improved on D.
You got to do but you lost daily, though.
Dallas has pretty much sucked for the last decade, and don't get me started on their fucking tainted cup, but they've not been great.
Foot in the crease.
Yeah, foot in the crease. But anyway. Yeah, since Madonna left, there really hasn't been a whole bunch to cheer for there. Now he's talking about Jamie Benn. Yeah, Jamie Benn, damn good player. Seguin, I think he's a little overrated. I think he's good, but I think he's slightly overrated. Maybe he was outshined in Boston to me. Maybe I wasn't watching enough games.
You were not watching enough games.
Okay, maybe he just. You know what though? We've seen it with a lot of players. You put Seguin with two guys, and he looks average. You put him with two other guys, and he looks like a fucking world beater. We've seen that on a lot of teams. We've seen that with the Sharks. Spezza, decent player. Sharp, accused rapist. Hemsky's old. And then look at all the money that they've put on the goaltenders. And we all know that one of those guys lets in key goals at key moments. So I'm not afraid of Dallas in the least. I'm just saying.
And here we go speculating like crazy over teams that haven't played a bit of hockey yet.
All I'm saying, if
I'm just saying, like,
correctly,
this whole thing is slightly ridiculous at this point in the year.
It is. Yeah, but
it's August 6th,
it's fucking August. We've had nothing to goddamn say for a long time. But I will say this: Gen X, if I remember, is supposed to be in town sometime during this hockey season, and we will. There will be no. Oh, if I can make it, bullshit. We will be having beers with the infamous Gen X this season. I'm just saying.
I guess we're doing like Cinnabar for some Pabst or something.
Oh, damn! Really? You don't think we can't just like go like a block down to the liquor store and brown bag it into ISO beers?
Yeah, there we go. Get a couple Mickeys there to make sure we appease the taste of Gen X.
And while me and you are like ordering from like Ike's or or from the steak shop next door, we'll like walk down to the corner and get him some Carl's Jr. or some shit to go with the Pabst.
What?
Yes, exactly. Some wiener. We need to get him some wiener schnitzel.
Aren't they on the corner of like 16th or something or 19th? We can get
they're up there on 4th and Taylor.
There you go. Oh, okay, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
We'll hook you up. Oh yeah, right next to Jack's. We'll take him to Jack's. I bet you Jack's has Pabst.
Oh yeah, they have Pabst.
Oh boy. My quick thing about the whole NHL MLB media agreement. Looking into it a little bit further today, you'll kind of see a lot more of MLB taking over the NHL's video and all that stuff. When reading it, it sounds like the NHL Network is also moving down to where they have where MLB Network is at in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Wait a minute. You said the MLB and the NHL are kind of merging up. That's what we needed. That's what we needed is replays in the NHL to last as long as a Major League Baseball replay.
It's a 6-year digital media rights partnership between the NHL and MLB's advanced media. It's expected to transfer the fan viewing experience. It's essentially they would have an equal share in a new tech company that's going to be launched by MLB Advanced Media. So it's kind of branching out into the own thing. There's also, I'm trying to read it here as I'm going down, as part of the deal, MLB AM, or MLB Advanced Media, will serve as a distribution arm for NHL Game Center Live and NHL Center Ice, which kind of got in trouble, and I think that's also going to be coming up soon too. In regards to that, there's supposedly free or discounted stuff to go with it. Also, the NHL Network is relocating its operations, I should say, from Toronto. It was operated by TSN, and because that kind of went away when the NHL went with Sportsnet in Canada, it's kind of been an awkward situation there. The NHL Network is relocating its operations to studio space inside MLB Network headquarters in Secaucus, New Jersey. They'll be operational for the start of the 2015-16 season in its new space, which makes a lot of sense because you have people like Catherine Tappan, Kevin Weeks, Tony Twist. Most of those guys that are there are based usually in the United States, so it makes a lot more sense to get them into that New York and New Jersey area. but a lot of it's going to be more online. All I hope is that they aren't going to charge you um, up the yin yang like MLB does for playoff coverage, um, games, classic games, and their apps. You don't need that. That's not going to help you grow the game like they've been. But I do hope that whatever MLB is doing, that the help the NHL improve on that.
And in
Um,
case you weren't sure, Gen X does not want Wiener Schnitzel. He would prefer Jack in the Box. Just throw that out there.
Well, there you go.
Hey, that's a nice wallpaper. You have
Taco
to
Bell
send,
didn't want any of that.
you got to send me that wallpaper, bro. I like that.
yeah, it's a little teaser, just a little teaser what's going to come out in a few weeks. But
Send it
yeah,
over.
I've been putting that over really quick, and it's gone. Um,
Send it over. And did you see the mashup graphic that I put up earlier? That was
no, I
kind
did.
of a mashup of kind of 70% original logo, 30% current logo, where you have it's the straight triangle with the
Mm-hmm.
gray, no orange. For the most part, the only thing that's different really from the original logo, obviously, is the stick, the color of the eye, and the teal accents on the body of the shark. Everything else is pretty much original logo. But I do think at least it's a mashup or an homage to the original logo while trying to be a little current. I actually think it's kind of an interesting. I like it.
That's actually pretty cool. I would, of course, the part of the whole thing is getting that super secret SJ in there, that's in the logo.
Yep.
And a little more teal, of course, for me would be nice on the shark. Of course, we've noticed this logo too. That's actually on the 25th anniversary logo. There's a possibility. I haven't, unfortunately, didn't get to see the new Heritage jersey, but I have a feeling this is going to probably what's going to be on the front of it with the original style and a tie-up.
Are you
That was my guess.
fucking serious?
Dude, you need to like cut out the teeth on this graphic and then line it up with your face. So like the shark's like talking and shit.
Hold on, no. So you're telling me that you believe
I
that the
believe.
heritage jersey that is
Yes.
forthcoming will have the striping and coloring of the inaugural jerseys from '91, but the crest will be this.
I have a feeling, and it's
That's not
not going on.
crazy idea.
I have a feeling because remember they said that it was going to be a mixture of all the looks. My gut feeling, and I
How is
have
this a
nothing.
mixture of all the looks?
Well, basically, it's a
We
current
haven't
logo.
seen this until this year.
It's a current logo, kind of updated
It's
because
a
the thing's
brand
going.
new logo.
AJ, relax, man.
Summer Donna.
But I'm
No,
just
I mean
saying.
it's the current logo with the new tail that they just pretty much spun 90 degrees. Um, and in the striping of the original style, I have a feeling that they will go with the current teal on it, and it'll be a lace-up collar. I say this because the
Well, then,
following
how are they paying any type of homage to the inaugural jersey then?
the striping of the inaugural jersey.
That's it?
hmm Now, there's a reason behind this because next season is the NHL's 100th anniversary, and we saw what they did with the 75th and had the original six dress in throwbacks. I have a feeling that every team in the league will have a throwback jersey for the NHL's 100th. So
So
get
basically,
ready.
we'll have the Sharks throw back to 100 years ago. They'll come on the ice naked.
Oh boy.
At
No,
least
that's
Burns,
not.
I'm sure Burnsy would do it.
You get what you understand though why that would perturb. I think it perturbs me, but I think it would perturb a lot of Sharks fans. The whole idea is it's the 25th anniversary. You're supposed to be paying some sort of tribute to the origins of the team.
Right.
And you're going to and in order to pay respect to that, you're going to be using a logo you've never fucking used before? A brand new logo? How does that pay tribute to 25 years ago? I'm sorry, that makes zero sense to me.
Because you're using the original style that supposedly everybody's in love with. You're putting the current teal on, which is homage to the most recent people, to the most recent teams. Who knows? Maybe the I would assume that the NorCal patch makes a return on the jersey since they're pushing the NorCal logo so hard in the Shark store. It all makes sense for that. It's a mixture of everything. It's a faux back per se. Because wait, hear me out. Hear me out. My thinking is you had to buy a new jersey for the Stadium Series, okay? You have to buy the Heritage jersey that the Sharks are putting out this year, and then next year for the NHL's 100th anniversary, when they go with the legitimate original style with the
Genuine.
old logo. The genuine.
Authentic. Right. Never say legitimate.
You know what I'm getting at. You're going to buy the faux back, and then you'll buy the real throwback next season. So
the one that they put out in the 20th anniversary.
Right. No, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I hate it.
I'll have to graphically put it out because it'll make a bunch of sense.
No, because I fucking hate it because it's so the only thing that you're paying homage to is the fact that the original jerseys had waist stripes. That's it. I mean, if you look and what ties at the neck. I know, but come on.
AJ, eat a Snickers.
If you're gonna pay respect to something, like, you know, if you do it half-ass, which if this is what they end up doing is completely half-ass, well, now I'm pissed off again. Remember how nice I was at the beginning and I had like a proper outlook and I was, you know, forward-looking? If they do this, that is an awful way to start this brand new season. It's just kind of, dude, you have to pay tribute to what started this team, and using a logo that has never been on a shirt. I mean, you understand what I'm saying, right? Using a logo that has never been on a jersey.
5 or 6 times now. We got it. But
remember, if I'm looking at the release for it, it says for a limited number of games during the 2015-16 season, the team will wear a newly created Heritage jersey. This new jersey, developed by Terry Smith, who created the original and current Sharks logo and uniforms, and many of the other iconic designs associated with the team. According to Smith, quote, the Heritage jersey represents the present of the Sharks franchise while paying stark homage to its past. So, like I said, I think you'll see elements of the original uniform with that new Shark logo on it. And I think they're saving the actual original jersey, edgified, of course, for the NHL's 100th.
Okay, and I think with that we've probably about run out of things to talk about.
We saved a good surprise for you.
Oh God. With that,
dude, hold on. No, not with that. To end this evening, we have to give a massive hat tip, and let me do that right now. Hat tip to you, good sir, Chester Chivo, for the meme of Puck Guy 14.
Oh no, what?
Paint me like one of your French girls. I like it. I like it. Chivo is the shit. That motherfucker throws it. Both him and Gen X. I don't know that I've met like guys who know how to kick because like you can be a badass on Photoshop and you can have like zero sense of humor and not get it. And you could like have the best sense of humor and be like completely parochial on Photoshop. These guys are the perfect blend. They get the joke, they're fucking funny, and they're masters of the goddamn Photoshop. These fucking guys, man, they fucking kill it every goddamn time we get on here, at least one of them throws down some awesome fucking shit. Every single time.
That is very nice, Chester Chivo. Although I kind of like the eat a Snickers meme more than anything else. So, dude, eat a Snickers. Why? Because you turn a whiny bitch when you're hungry.
No, honestly, I'm surprised that Chester didn't throw down the animated GIF that was like, oh my god, I should have had a Snickers.
Oh, dear God. You Photoshop wizards, get on that. With that, it's
See you
been
in
a rough.
September.
Yeah, we will. Well, I'm sure we'll get on there beforehand. For Chris and AJ, thank you very much. I'm going to take a quick opportunity to thank a number of people who've written and messaged me this week. For some of you who don't know, my great grandmother passed away on Monday. Saturday would have been her 101st birthday. It's been a crazy, crazy ride. And there's a lot of stuff still going down, which I'd rather not get into, but that's why I had to step away earlier. But appreciate the love and support and everything. Kind of been trying to distract myself a little bit, so tonight getting on here was fun, but I really appreciate it. AJ, I'll try to make up a mock-up of that Heritage jersey, and you'll see what I mean later. But until then, AJ, Chris, Gen X, Chester Chivo, make sure you subscribe, of course, as always. Till hopefully in a few weeks when we start seeing guys come back to do assistant captain's ice. This is Puckeye 14. Keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Good shakes.